Ladies and gentlemen, it's the comedians.
I had a nice present for Christmas, didn't I? I said to the wife on Christmas morning, come here, you rat bag. How did you get the car in the kitchen?
Fellow walked in a chip shop. He said, sure this fish was cooked? He says, why? He said, he set all the chips.
Do you know, we had a marvellous New Year's Eve party. I must tell you about this. It was, you know, all jolly up, plenty of lads and plenty of faces there from, like, you know, our business and the sports world. And just as the eve was nearly over, unfortunately, a fire broke out. And we all rushed outside, see? And the flames were leaping up in the air. And this woman appeared at the window with a baby, and the crowd went, throw the baby down! She said, I can't. It'll be killed, it'll be killed. Don't be a pilchard. Throw the baby down. She said, I can't, it'll be killed, it'll be killed. Out the crowd he stepped. Mrs. I am the Irish international goalkeeper. I've never dropped a ball in my life. Throw the baby down. With that, she threw the baby out the window. As the baby was coming down, there was a gust of wind, and it took the baby to one side. The goalie leapt in the air, and he snatched the baby from death. The crowd went raving mad. Hooray! Hooray! He bounced the baby twice and kicked it over. All right.
But Christmas is for kids. It doesn't really matter what nationality they are, whether they're Irish, Scottish, Jewish, English, you know. Little Irish kid talking to a little Scots kid. He said, what'd you get for Christmas? He said, nothing. He said, me ma boiled us some eggs and told us it was Easter. He said, what did you get? Little Irish kid said, nothing. He said, he asked me down for an encyclopedia. He told me to walk to school like everybody else.
So there's Englishmen, Irishmen and Scotchmen had to go to this fancy dress party at Christmas, you see. And they had to go and look like somebody from Star Trek. Scotchman arrived all in his Scotch plaids. He said, who are you supposed to be? He said, I'm Scotty. The English fellow had these funny ears. He said, who are you? He said, I'm Dr. Spock. And the Irish fella, dressed as a tree. He said, what are you supposed to be? He said, I'm the captain's log, sir.
My brother got a car for Christmas, and he went out for a trial drive, and he's going round this roundabout, an hour and a half, round this roundabout, and this policeman couldn't believe his eyes, and he went, excuse me, sir, and he stopped him. He says, I've been watching you here for an hour and a half. You went round that roundabout 56 times. And he said, don't blame me, son. It's the indicator stuck.
1979 wasn't a good year for Shuey. He went to sleep with his head underneath the pillow. The fairies came and took all his teeth out. He tried to commit suicide after that. Bought a jar of 50 Aspros. Took 2 and felt better.
But we got our first lady Prime Minister, didn't we? Better known as Maggie and her merry men. That Peter Walker, eh? Minister of Agriculture. He said he's definitely not going to be dictated to by Brussels. Mind you, he's prepared to listen to some French beans and spring onions. And then we had the milk and the butter mountains, didn't we? And all the beef, but I'm not really interested what Cyril Smith has for breakfast. But in any case, and then the highlight must have been the Pope's visit to Ireland. He went to Galway, didn't he? Went to Galway, and all those children serenaded him, didn't they? With the Mull of Kintyre. Now, only the Irish could welcome a Polish man from Italy singing about Scotland written by a Liverpudlian.
It was the New Year when the Pope landed in Dublin. And when he got off the plane, there was all the paddies standing there waiting on him. And he got off the plane and they went, Elvis! Elvis! Elvis, you've come to see us! The Pope said, I'm not Elvis. I'm the Pope from Poland. It's okay, Elvis, come on, son. And they put him in the car. And he's going along O'Connell Street. And all the paddies are on the bridge going, we want Elvis. We want Elvis. We want... He said, I'm not Elvis. He said, I'm the Pope from Poland. And we're down to the hotel. And they're just going to put him in the hotel, and he up the stairs into his suite. And he opened the door. And on the bed was a big blonde. And the Pope went, well, since my baby left me,
Migraine. I must admit, we had a beautiful Christmas, you know. It was a more, well, I suppose you could call it a fairy tale Christmas, really, you know. Grim. And when I think back, you know how stories are handed down right through the families, through generations. I think about my great-great-great-great-granddad. On New Year's Eve, he was in a bar, a Jewish pub called the Kosher Horses. And he's listen, you listen to crying out loud. And he's in there having a drink. All of a sudden, the Navy, they press ganged him. And they dragged him back to this ship, and the captain come up. And he looked at all these men that had been press ganged. There was 5 of them, and 2 at the back. One of them had big eyes right out there like that. And the one next to him had big ear holes like that. The captain went, who are they? He said, that's the Johnson brothers. He said, we can't use them. He said, you haven't got enough men. The captain said, put them in the crow's nest. They're out at sea 18 days. And this one with the eyes leaned over the crow's nest. He went, Captain, there's a ship 68 mile off the starboard bow. He said, how far? He said, 68 mile. He said, don't be a donut. He said, I'm telling you. Captain said, give us my big spyglass. He got this big spy, and lo and behold, as a micro dot in the end of this spyglass was a ship. He said, you're right. He said, of course I'm right. He said, you know what sort of ship it is? He said, it's a French man of war. He said, how do you know that? He said, my brother could hear him talking.
That's it. It was Christmas morning when Mr. and Mrs. Muffy were sitting 7 stories high in the block of flats. and the oven exploded and blew them out the window. And eyewitnesses said it was the first time they'd been seen out together for 15 years.
Do you know, I mean, sometimes, Christmas is a time of goodwill and, you know, nice happy time. But there was 2 guys that lived together all their life. They never got married, and tragically, they both passed away on the same day. One went to heaven, one went to hell. And they met about 3 weeks later in the supermarket in the middle doing the Christmas shopping. So the one up there said to the one down there, what's it like down here, Tom? He said, it is delightful. He said the pubs are open all the time and so are the clubs. It don't cost you nothing. Day and night, plenty of hits. And the women down here are out of this world. There's no clothes as such. Girls walk around in the business and it's handsome all day long, plenty of that, and all night long, plenty of that, and he's out of this world. What's it like up there? He said, awful. Get up in the morning and cook the breakfast. Do all the washing up. Make the beds. Polish the ruddy gates. He said, why is that? I'm the only one up here.
And there's so many break-ins over Christmas, isn't there? Ooh, the amount of people. You're frightened to leave your home. I mean, this time of the year, there's so many robberies. Like, I was walking down the high street, and this elephant run past me. And he smashed his trunk against this jeweller's window and sucked all the rings and watches up his trunk. And he took off. And this couple walked over to me. He said, do you see what happened, pal? I said, yeah. He said, what happened? I said, you're not going to believe this. He said, what happened then? I said, I was walking down the street and an elephant ran past me, smashed his trunk against this jeweller's window, took all the rings and watches up his trunk. He said, you're joking? I said, I'm not joking. He said, an elephant. I said, it was an elephant. He said, it was an elephant. I said, it was. I said, an elephant went, took off. He said, yeah. I said, I'm not. He said, well, what's it look like? I said, what do you mean, what's it look like? He said, well, was it an Indian elephant or an African elephant? I said, well, what's the difference? He said, well, an Indian elephant has got little ears. And an African elephant has got big ears. I said, I couldn't tell you that. He said, why not? He said, he had a stocking over his head.
One little old lady in Liverpool went to a butcher's on Christmas Eve, pensioner she was, bless her. And she said, have you got a chicken? She said, I'm a bit late. She said, no. And the butcher, he only had one chicken left in the fridge. Little scrawny chicken. How about that, love? She said, it's a bit small and no meat on it. So we thought, what am I going to do? So we went to the fridge and blew it up. Said, how about that one, love? She said, I'll have the both.
Mummy just said, what are we going to do for this year for us, something to eat? I said, I'm going to get us something. Leave the poultry to me. She said, I said, leave it to me. I said, you fancy duck? She said, I've never tasted duck. I said, leave it to me, I'll get a duck. You like a duck. I said, it won't cost a penny. She said, if it's not going to cost you nothing, get it. So I went out the house and I got some bread in my pocket and I went down the park. And there's in this duck on the water. I thought, I have you. And I got this bread out of my pocket and I was going. And he was going, quack, quack, quack. I said, swim a big quack out of you. Hang on, I ain't finished, I haven't finished. I'm doing the jokes. I thought, I'll have you. And this duck swam towards me. And I got this duck out of the water and I was plucking all the feathers off it. And I heard a rustle in the bushes, so I put the duck back on the water. This bloke said, you poaching? I said, poaching? He said, you poach? I said, you're joking? He said, I said, I ain't poaching. He said, you're poaching? I said, I'm not. He said, well, what's all them feathers on your lap? I said, I'm saving his clothes while he has a swim.
And then there was actually I've got kids. When I was saying kids are fun, I've got a little boy and he's quite funny. I got a little boy and a little girl, and he's quite greedy. I heard him talking on Christmas Eve, you know, and he said I'm going to hang the pillowcases out. I'm not going to hang a stocking out. He said I want as much as I can get. Well, he's not greedy, so I thought, right, I'll teach you, you little tinker. I'll fill his pillowcases up with horse milk. Anyway, Chris, I did it, you know. I filled him up with horse wine. The next morning, his little sister come running into the bedroom. She said, "Isn't it smashing Christmas?" She said, I've got a doll and a pram and a teddy bear and what have you got?" He said, "Well, I haven't seen it yet, but I think I'm getting horse."
I'm unfortunate because my little lad, his birthday is the 4th of January. So I thought, well, I've bought him all his Christmas. What I'll do is I'll get him an entertainer from Yellow Pages. And I've got him, haven't I? Uncle Stan, the balloon man. Moped. He's there. And he done all these tricks with elephants, giraffes, made all the kids, elephants, giraffes. Then he said, "I've had a few many to drink. Will you come to the off-licence with me?" So I said, "Well, I'm not driving." He said, "I'll drive. Uncle Stan, the balloon man, Polatic." So I've got in the car with him, took him down the off-licence. There it was, panda car. Out pops Chi-Chi and Annan. He said, "Right, sir, you've been drinking. Blow into this bag." He said, "What do you want, a giraffe or an elephant?"
This is a story of 3 bears. Mother bear, father bear, and baby bear. Christmas morning. And baby bear come down whining. What a little moan is he? She said, "Who's been eating my porridge?" And father bear come down, he's hangover. "Who's been eating my porridge?" Mother bear come down, she said, "What are you all moaning about? I've not made any bloody porridge yet."
How about the 2 Liverpudlian supporters a couple of years ago going to see Liverpool playing Mönchengladbach in Rome? Do you remember? In the European Cup final. One's flying from Liverpool and the other one's going by boat. And one said, "Where should we meet in Rome?" "Ah, kid." He said, "The best place is the Vatican." He said, "The bar or the lounge?" One bloke walked into a chemist. He said, "Have you got a comb?" The lady said, "Do you want to steal one?" He said, "No, I'll pay for it." One said, "My dog died last year with flu." He said, "Dogs don't die with flu." He said, "It flew under a bus." That's the Liverpool sense of humour. One Liverpudlian's taking a Liverpool dog to the match to see Liverpool playing Everton. And as an Evertonian stood there, he said, "What have you got the dog for?" He said, "It loves watching Liverpool playing at Everton." He said, "Why?" He said, "Well, every time Liverpool scores," said the Liverpudlian, "this dog jumps up and pats his paws together." And the Evertonian said, "What does it do when Everton scores?" He said, "It does somersaults." And the Evertonian said, "Well, how many somersaults does it do, like?" And the Liverpudlian said, "Just depends how many times you kick it up the bum."
I'm full up, that turkey. Whoa. That's too much pudding. What about you?
Oh, dear.
We had the German. We had the German Christmas dinner. Heinz beans. Got up this morning, I got a record for Christmas. Dolly Parton's biggest tits. Biggest tits. It's hard to say that, isn't it? Oh, we had a German turkey. It was a goose. Had to pull the jackboots off it before we could eat it. Isn't it? It's great to have a laugh in it round the table at Christmas, you know. We were sitting there eating our dinner like that. We'll milk cake. If it went round, you all got a bit. And a knock come on the door and the fella said, "Hey, you." Me dad. My dad said, "What about me?" He said, "Hey, your dog." He said, "What about our dog?" He said, "I was just going for a paper." He said, "Down the corner shop on the road. And your dog went for me." My dad said, "That's bloody funny. It won't go for me."
It's Jack, hey, them Jack Russells are ones. That Jack Russell, like that. Through the late, all the girls there in the butchers. Saturday morning, 2 days to go. Oh, Christmas, in the window, bloody great piece of pork. The butcher, you know what they are, them butchers. Smile and then they go. He said to this fella, "Is that your dog?" Just buggered off with that piece of pork. This fella said, "Well, it was, but it looks after itself now."
When a funny Christmas comes like this, you know, and we're all enjoying ourselves, and we don't know really what we're eating and what we're drinking, because at the end of the day, we're all at the doctors, aren't we? I mean, we're standing in the pub talking, and I was talking to my mate, and we were talking about this subject. I said, look, we drink. Look at all this stuff we're drinking. Beer, lager, German lager. My mate said, that German lager, he says, good for you. I said, what do you mean it's good for you? He said, well, I'll show you. He said, look. And he got this glass of water, and a glass of lager, and he got a worm. A worm. And he put the worm in the water, and it went. And he said, well, he said, watch. He just took it out, and he put it in the lager, and the worm went. Dead. So what does that prove? He said, well, if you drink lager, you won't get worms.
I was doing Prestwick's Lunatic Asylum because I said, don't want to do it. I told the agent, I said, don't want to do it. I did it last year. He said, they've asked for you back. I don't know why we feel sorry for people that are daft, because they're all walking around laughing. One was on the rose beds fishing. I said, have you caught many? He said, you're the fifth. There's a very good magician on stage. He was doing card tricks and rabbit tricks and cigarettes from thin air. He was a good one. Well, this daft one on the third row, he didn't like him. He did him tickle you in your twit. Ting-a-da-dong. He said, I don't sing, I'm a magician, my name's Tilly. He said, but all Tilly, ting-a-da-dong.
Nelson's ship was sailing the oceans, and they'd been fighting the Spanish for days and months, and the crew were all frustrated. There's a bloke on a crow's nest shouts, there's a ship sighted on the port bow, sir. Everybody shouts, all hands on deck. Somebody shouts, man the guns. And somebody else shouts, fire! And the guns go,
The comedians tonight were Mike Reed, Bernard Manning, Roy Walker, Charlie Day, Harry Scott, Johnny Carroll, George Roper, Mick Miller, Ken Goodwin, Ivor Davis, and Stan Boardman.